chairperson of the school committee who may limit or terminate discussion. No comment should address personnel, litigation, or negotiations as restricted by open meeting regulations. The school committee cannot take action or vote on topics introduced that are not reflected on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Yeah, okay, then there's Jim. Oh, yeah, he went back there so we could see. The consent agenda.
Okay, under consent, we have the approval of the regular meeting minutes from May 24th. We also have two appointments, one in the original packet and then the additional appointment, in the supplemental packet. We have a couple of recalls as a result of vacancies in the certification area of people that were on the layoff list after the job fair. And then we have our monthly bills.
Would anyone like to pull it?
A couple minutes for the down.
Yes, okay. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the minutes of the May 24th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the May 24th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain.
Diane, Tish is in the audience.
Yeah, I saw.
So one of the appointments is for the Director of Administration position that is being vacated on July 1st by Mr. Ross. And Tish has been the treasurer for the Exeter West Greenwich School District for the past 12 years. She's worked really closely with Bob along the way. And she is a very smart woman who brings a lot of institutional knowledge to the position as well. So she will be jumping into this new role on July 1st, which is just a few short weeks away. So Tish, I know you've all met her, but she is in the audience, and I wanted to publicly say congratulations, and it's official.
Congratulations. And correspondence, did anyone want to pull anything? I would like to pull Andrea Monroe's leaving us. I'm very sad to lose her. It's been great. So much. But she's going to a good place, but she's going down south. New opportunities for her. Anyone else want to pull anything? To the 21-22 budget projection.
Okay, this is enclosed in your packet. This is the monthly budget projection, and excuse me, it's just showing that we're still on track for the projected revenues for the year. And as we close out the fiscal year through June and then into July, the expenses will tighten up, but again, we're still in a very good shape with the positive fund balance. And the school committee took care of a lot of the assignments during the school year. I think for the next meeting, just foreshadowing a little bit, there may be a request to move some of 2022 dollars that simply have not been spent because of supply chain issues. And rather than push those in as an additional expense into the 23 budget, the thought process was to reallocate that to the technology, capital reserve technology budget so that Jeremy can execute that. So that will be coming on in the next school committee packet. So that's just a little foreshadowing, but overall, we're in great shape.
We're gonna miss you too.
You can watch me on PBS.
Not the same Bob Ross.
Oh, it isn't? Oh,
No.
man.
Or it could be.
Okay, the monthly status reports. Just,
So, Jim,
Yeah,
you know, we've heard about all the issues that are going on in the country. We take certain precautions in that regard. I'll assume at this point, you don't have to answer yes or no, that we perform drills. Whether we perform drill or not regarding security, I would be interested in the committee getting the summary report as a result of that drill that was performed or not.
so I think you're talking about the safety reviews that we've been asked to do.
Well,
This week.
I heard about the safety reviews that request that came out of from the
Yeah.
Education Commissioner's office. What I'm asking for, my presumption here is that we have a drill, yes or no, and I'm not asking for yes or no, because I have sensitive to the executive session security issues, and kind of limits what I can communicate. But assuming yes or no, we had a drill regarding an issue, and there would have been a report regarding our success or failure in that exercise and or drill. Do we do any of that? Do we have a report of that kind? Not necessarily what the commissioner is asking. She's asking for an inventory of potential improvements to our school department or issues. That's not what I'm asking for.
Okay.
So if that's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, I'm kind of limited as to what I can talk about because it's.
So
And I'm asking for, if you have a report, to give it to me.
okay, so we are required by law to, I'm not sure why you're getting angry. Like, I just want to
Did I
answer
say
the
I was
question.
angry? Did I say I was angry? Then don't interpret anything from me if you don't mind. Don't put words in my mouth. Just continue on with your communication. Just don't put words in my mouth. All right. I'll ask for it via the agenda. Thank you, Chris.
I'll answer the question. So we are required by law to conduct drills, including fire drills, lockdown drills, that's public law, which we do at every building on a regular basis. There is no formal report that is produced as a result of those, other than that we do them and that the police are often present during those to give us feedback, and we just improve based on the feedback that we receive.
I think we should. Part of that should include certain metrics regarding our responsiveness, success or failure for a school on those items that were attended. So if we have it, which includes the police department, part of that would include how quickly we respond. Did we check all the external doors? Did we check the internal doors of the classroom and ensure they secure? How long did it take for all of those things to
Yeah,
happen?
those things are all recorded and submitted to the state as part of the,
Okay.
as part of
And
that report.
And I think the committee, at least I would be very interested in that information.
Perhaps the next meeting, we could have executive session and discuss what our protocols are.
So The next meeting, I had already indicated that I wanted to put this on the agenda because I need to have a conversation about the results of the walkthroughs that we've conducted for the second time this year. And we have already completed 3 of the buildings. We have the other 2 that are happening tomorrow. Those reports have to be uploaded to the Department of Ed by Friday of this week. And there are recommendations. Not a ton, because we've done a lot of work in this area, but there are some small recommendations for additional improvements that we can talk about in executive session.
Does the report, is it specific to school safety? Does it talk any bit about like social emotional support?
No, it's
Nothing like
physical safety.
preventative?
No. Or physical safety.
I think it would be valuable for during that full session to also talk about how we are proactive with students who may be presenting concerning behavior and what our practices with addressing that beforehand.
Yes, I have a probably a question here on your report. You check with the SBA to use available, I guess, funds from the bond for other projects. So what, can you let us know what the process would be? When you go off the list that funds that got eliminated and then submit that on the school committee? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we know that we have, the approval was for 17.8 million, and I'm going to use round numbers. So we've issued about $10 million. We received PAYGO from the state, PAYGO reimbursements. That's to help jumpstart in the amount of $2 million. So that's 12 million. And then we have roughly 5.4 million left over for issue. And we know there's going to be, or we're hoping, there's going to be a balance from the original issue of $10 million. So depending on that balance, after we do all the let me get the sequence right, knowing that when the HVAC project is done. So we're thinking maybe there's going to be 4 or 5 million left, maybe 4 million left from there. So that we're holding 4 that's been issued. Now we wait for the bids for the site, the roof, and the general construction. If we're holding 4 and those bids come in at, let's just say 3 million or 7 million. So we have 4, we'll need 3. So now we've got the 7 to do those projects. That would leave 2.4 million still to be issued by the bond, right? Or available. And what they want to do, what the spirit of the legislation, if not explicit, is to say you can only issue for what you have projects. So they don't want you taking an additional 2.4 million, obligating the taxpayers, and then just kind of sitting on that, on those funds. They want you to have projects that are designated for those funds. So one of the tasks will be is after we receive the bids, after we see where we are with the original 10 million, what are those actual hard numbers? And then do we as a community want to say, we're going to identify, in the example I gave, $2.4 million in additional projects that we want to do. Ask the SBA to allow us to modify the existing memorandum of agreement. And thereby we issue the balance of the available bond dollars, and we only pay once because it costs about $100,000 to go out to bond. And it's pretty, it won't be as intense as the first time we went out, but it's probably an 80-hour process just for the DOA, for the director of admin to get that done, just working with the bond counsel and in the financial people and the committees and everything. So we're in a really good spot, but I think we have time. So for the committee, the milestones that we have to do is the bids should all hit the street. Oh, you know what? I said I'm just going to answer the question. Did I answer the question?
But I'm used to it.
What's that?
I'm used to that.
I know. I said, Bob, just answer the question. In the last 2 meetings of my life in the school committee, I'm going to try to only answer the question, and I failed miserably. The answer is yes.
There's still one more.
It was really a simple question.
Yeah,
If there's extra money, you said we can modify the MOA. My simple question was, are we gonna go with the list that we had, because we cut stuff off it, right?
yes.
And is that gonna come, does that go to building committee to look and see what we should use it for? Does it come to school committee? I just kind of, it was really a really simple question.
I think it goes to the school committee, to the building committee. The building committee is sensitive to not get in front of the school committee. But I also think there's a huge opportunity with the safety issues to address some of those things. And those are, Jeremy has written a very comprehensive report. There are a lot of things going on, and I think we're going to be in a really good spot.
So you'll come to the superintendent or petition come to the school committee recommendation.
Correct. Priority.
That's all I need to know.
Well, were you gonna say that? Okay, any other questions? To new business, the Lyon School Milk Program.
So I asked. Lynham School Committee review. I just asked a few simple questions. One of the questions that I had was the district providing milk to the students, 3 and 4-year-olds that attend pre-K? And the answer was from the superintendent, I wasn't required to do so.
That was not the answer.
What was the answer?
That was part of the answer, that we're not required to do so, but we provide milk and snacks to any family who requests it. And that is part of the conversation that happens between the director and the families on enrollment.
Thank you. So the more elaborate answer Jim just provided. So in essence, I want our 3 and 4-year-olds at Lynham to participate in the same milk program as say the kindergartners at Wall, the first graders, the second graders. You know, I have an article here from the Department of Agriculture that says recommended milk requirements for 3 and 5-year-olds. They should get 6 ounces of milk every day. They're in our care the minute they enter that bus, and then they come to our building and eventually leave the building and are on that bus. So I did a little bit of accounting, and we do, oddly enough, charge, even though these kids are considered half-day students, a full-day tuition of $22,500 per city or town they come from. So even though we show 76 kids, they're half-day kids. They're there either in the morning or in the afternoon. But we charge the towns as if they are there a full day, like a K kid or first grader through 6th. That's 6 through 6, first through 6. So that means they get charged to our towns $22,500. Bob, is it true that we actually charge them? I'm not sure about this, but you charge the parents $225 tuition on top of that. I wasn't sure if I thought that right. Now,
For the
preschool,
yes, we charge, they are charged tuition
how much?
on a monthly basis, $225. $225 on a monthly basis, and then
So
it's
we charge
prorated.
on top of the fact that a person who's there a half day, the full tuition can either exit or West Greenwich, depending on the origination of the child. And we charge the parent $225 a month on top of that, which obviously we don't do for our other children in the district. And we can't, and we're squawking about giving these kids a half a pint of milk, 6 ounces of milk, sorry, 8 ounces of milk. I think it's a little unacceptable. I don't think it's a big deal, given the financial burden we put on our towns. The fact that I, by some strange coincidence, act of God yesterday, I got behind a school bus from the elementary school on my side of town, which is not quite the far eastern side of town. Assuming they're released at 3 o'clock. The last child on that bus was released at 3:55. That isn't even the farther side of Exeter. The farther side of Exeter is, it's right by your eye. It's Pleasant neighborhood or something like that. My neighborhood, which is where I got behind that school bus, I was just trying to get home, 3:55 on Beechwood Hill Trail. It's another at least 8 minutes from there to that part of Exeter where a potential child might be. So we're talking about an hour on the bus, both ways. We're talking about kids there for 2.5 hours. Charge the towns $22,500 per kid, and they're only there for a half day. And we charge mom and dad $225 a month on top of that. And we can't get these kids, when they're there, the same milk program that everybody else, every other student in the district gets. I think that's wrong. And I'm recommending to the school committee that we correct this issue by whatever additional cost to the district to make sure these children get that student half pint of milk when they're here, either in the morning or in the afternoon. I think there's plenty of money being tossed around in this district that we can afford to get these poor kids a half a pint of milk. And I don't think we should burden the parent getting their stuff together, getting the kid on the bus, getting the kid in the car, get to the school. We got a lot of things going on in their heads. I think one of those things that should be provided is milk. So I'm going to exercise the motion this time. Motion to extend the milk program to affect morning and afternoon students of the Lyman preschool.
I'll second your discussion. I just wanted to say one thing. Not all children can have milk. My grandson, for instance, is very allergic to milk. He cannot have it. So, you have to make some provisions for children that are allergic.
You would if they were in the kindergarten. The only difference is these 3- and 4-year-olds are a little young, filling out a customer satisfaction survey. So I think as a school committee, we should advocate for them to get their little student 8 ounce, half a pint of milk in the morning. When they're there in the afternoon, that same privilege, that K through 12.
I was just going to ask one thing too. Does that change? Would that go through our or something? Would that change our relationship and our ability to get them?
Short answer, no. Polls to address member McFadden's request. I have received guidance from the child nutrition program at RIDE, and we can offer the half-day pre-K and full-day pre-K services through our existing contract with the NSLP and not have to go through the CACFEP program. And I think that addresses your concern, Chair Allen, regarding students who might have allergies, and it addresses Member McFadden's concern about the serving sizes that are appropriate for pre-K. And that is typically not what you're going to buy at a supermarket. It comes from a food distributor like Cisco or something like that. So all good news. We don't have to run a special program. And I'm in discussion with Monique Harrod, who runs Aramark, and we're going to return to providing for the students at Lynham. Good.
Question. So right now you're saying anybody who asks for the milk or snack gets milk or snack, regardless of their income.
Yeah.
So my understanding, that's different in K-12. So there's, you have to qualify for free and reduced lunch.
So everything costs money. Lunches cost, milk costs, at all of the buildings. If a child qualifies for free, then everything is free. If they qualify for reduced, they get the reduced price. At Lynham, there are so few that have requested it that we just provide it. If we add on to the existing program, then there will be costs associated with if it's the same program, right? They can charge the similar amount as everybody else.
Correct. Right.
For the students who qualify that we will be providing it for, is that what we're saying?
No, the students who qualify for free would get it for free still. And the students that are reduced would get reduced price, and anybody else that wants it, pay the 40 cents, I think.
So if we extend, the request is to extend what we currently have in K-12. So that in that case, the children would no longer, the family who requests it and doesn't qualify would no longer get it for free. There would be a cost associated if we use the same program and we do something different than what we're currently doing.
Yes.
I think that's concerning to me that we would actually penalize, you know, if right now it's being provided for free no matter what. Extending it would incur a cost for some of the families, which seems different than what the request is, what the interest is. The other clarifier is that the pre-K children are not in the bus, they don't have an extended day, right? Except for the children who take the, who qualify for transportation, and that's a separate bus.
Yeah, they have their own. All the school children are transported on small buses, the mini buses, very low ridership, and they're on without any other programs.
But
So
so,
the concern is making sure that children have access at Lynham. Right now, you're saying during enrollment, the director has a conversation with the family about if they need the snacks or stuff provided. Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering why the need, yeah,
You're asking,
yeah.
sure, I'm going to answer it, because first of all, I can't see why we can't treat children in the dispensing of milk, not on an as-need basis, but rather to ensure that they do get that. Okay, we're not doing anything wrong with K through 12. I'm merely saying give it to the kindergartens in a certain method, which is if there's snacks, or in this case, K, you get a lunch, they're going to march up to the counter, get dispensed at the point of milk, and they're going to get it. He's claiming that we give them milk on an as-need basis. That's not the same as what we give to kindergartens through 12. They get them, period, in the store.
But it is, so what they're saying though is that it's based on your financial need as a family, as your health.
That's not a requirement from K through 12.
It is.
Well, then
Every
they still get it.
family
They're gonna
does.
participate in the same program, K through 12. I don't care what Jim thinks anyway. I think we all know how Jim and I get along, right? So I'm not really interested in facts or the issues or the criteria. All I want these children to get is milk dispensed to them in the same manner, K through 12. That's
I
it.
think,
And we can just put it all behind us.
I understand, but what I'm concerned about and want to discuss with you is if we do it the same way K through 12 does, and we charge the families who don't qualify for it financially. That's how it works in K-12.
Why are we charging?
That's how it works as the federal
Right.
program.
That's the National School Lunch Program.
Yeah, the National School Lunch
And how
Program.
much does a child who's in kindergarten pay for plan?
I want to say that the $220 at the elementary
That's
level.
lunch.
That's lunch.
Just
$2.25 for a loaf.
For lunch, no, for lunch,
For
for lunch.
40
I'm thinking meal, yeah, 40 cents for a milk,
What?
40 cents for milk.
Okay, that's it, 40 cents. In fact, I think it should be free, given the fact that we're paying twice as much for tuition for that child, because they're only here for a half a day. They're here.
What they're saying is that they do give it to the families who request it for free right now, regardless. So even if the family doesn't qualify
I
for
don't
free,
want
they
that.
get it for free.
I don't want to have to go out there and verify. I was there like you that day, that evening, and I said, I've been getting milk, and what was the answer? The parents provide. That was the answer, that's what I'm going for.
I don't think, I did hear Jim that day say what he just said, so.
That was the answer that was provided to me by the principal at Lyman. The parents provide the milk. I have,
No,
if you want to go with your own beliefs, it doesn't shock me in the least. Good luck in your next
Considering
position.
my son was just there
Great
years
legacy.
ago. I'll look at that.
this is not an opinion. This is a fact. That if the school committee wants to offer the NSLP to the pre-K students, they can, and they will be treated, have the same treatment as the K-12. That is, they will be given the paperwork to see if they qualify for free, reduced, or they don't qualify for free and reduced. That is how we remain in compliance as a district with the National School Lunch Program. It is collected, it is reported, all of that information, and it's up to the families to self-report. I think this is an opinion. Perhaps one of the things that Member Monroe is getting at is that the unintended consequences, as is the case with a lot of government programs, is when you ask people to self-report, they do not report, and therefore they are excluded from participation because they need to report to participate. So you could in fact have an adverse impact of the NSLP at Lynham by having someone who's entitled to free lunch but is very proud and does not want to report that they're eligible. And therefore the student now would not get the milk for free because they're not reporting their income as below poverty level. If the committee wants to say, we want to provide the NSLP K through 12, but have Lynham be a standalone, and they get whatever it is you decide upon for free, that would have to be a motion and a vote, and then ready to go. Bearing in mind, one of the hurdles that the school lunch program is facing is that for 2 years, we have been serving free breakfast and lunch to the whole community. In next year, on September 1, when the doors open, that federal program ends. That waiver is not extended. So there are going to be families who are going to be saying, my kid's been eating breakfast or lunch for 2 years for free, and now we have to pay. So I'm just saying that all is, it's not to complicate, but just to, let's be thoughtful about what we're actually trying to do. These aren't opinions. This is fact. This is what will happen.
I have a question. You're right. So when I went to that meeting, right, and I clearly asked the principal there, like, they said the parents provide.
Correct.
Quote.
Correct.
Okay. refrigerator here? I don't know. Here, I'm not gonna go down there inspection because who knows what's gonna happen when I go down there, right? So I can only go with knowing full well that preschool does not execute like K through 12 does, that the principal said that the parents provide them as they do with the snacks. And we charge the cities and towns, get this, twice as much for a kid in pre-K simply because they're there for a half a day. If we were to amateurize those two students that are there in the morning and the afternoon, that's $44,000. I cannot believe that we're squawking about getting a bunch of 3 and 4-year-olds 8 ounces of milk for their stay. If they're, and frankly and honestly, you gotta remember, Exeter has a 2-hour drive to get these kids there if they're a bus. Do all the kids take the bus? But if they do take the bus, as they could, if they wanted to, you're looking at least for the lengthiest part of Exeter, which is not West Greenwich, but I'm not gonna be mean spirited. I think the kids in West Greenwich should get milk too. 2 hours on the bus. They're 2 hours on the bus to Exeter, and then they're 2.5 hours in school. So in total, they're almost 5 hours. Probably they are 5 hours. 2.5 hours. So if you're gonna give kids who milk because they're on the bus 2 hours to Exeter, I'm all for giving milk to the kids in West Greenwich. Although I can see where they would argue because the drive in West Greenwich isn't quite as far. As is as a result of all the construction of West Greenwich, all the facilities, almost fast regionalization. of West Greenwich. So I'd like to move the motion at this point, if you don't mind, Madam Chair.
So, yeah, so I was gonna say that our preschool program is always high in demand. I've never heard one complaint from any parent about the snack time at school. We've always had a waiting list. Right now, the child forgets a snack, the parent doesn't pack it. We're giving them for free, no matter what their qualifications. And see, put them in under a program to me is a hindrance. And again, our preschool program is very well. Supposed to have, I've never had one process.
I just feel like they're going to actually suffer heading into free, and now we're going to charge them. They're probably better off.
Yeah, and then they were parent might be in a rush to get to work and they didn't have their child snack. And now we're saying you have to qualify.
The motion.
The motion is to extend the EWG milk program to pre-K, 3 and 4-year-olds, mornings and afternoons.
Can we modify that just to include the name of the program itself?
Yeah, the NSLP.
To include what the program name is for record. It's not,
I
there
asked
isn't,
that as part of.
if there isn't a milk program, there's
The National School Lunch Program.
the national
Of
school
course,
lunch.
but that wasn't my motion. I'd like to move the motion as part. If you wish to amend the motion, then we need to. School committee to amend. I'll amend the motion.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Right. Unfinished business, 21 to 22, return to school guidance.
Nothing new. I put the numbers in the status report. We are starting to see another dip in positive cases, which is good. They will be releasing within the next month or so guidance for return for next school year. So start all over again.
The capital project update. A lot of discussion, a lot of stuff happened in the last.
Yeah, I think for the committee, the school committee, significant development with the projects is that the roofs for both Walloon and Metcalf, the base bid is going to be for metal roofs, which I think is really an interesting, concept. And then asphalt would be the alternate bid. And hopefully that works in the district's favor. There was a lot of work behind all of that happening. I won't bore you with that, but that was significant. The abatement plan for the junior high school floor is moving forward. There's a good plan in hand. The industrial hygienist came up with a plan and working with Emory Environmental, so they have the abatement plan, so that should be pretty straightforward. I thought it was interesting that the architect and the OPM are hoping that we'll wrap up all of this work by December of 22. So that was kind of, but it's really on supply chain. I think the body of work isn't bad. I think it's going to become supply chain issues. The bids will be going out to advertise this week. We will receive bids, and then once RIDE approves the 60% construction documents, there'll be a scope review and we'll award the bids. And then from there, we can discuss the item that we were discussing earlier, like, so what's the balance? And I just think there's a lot of really good information in momentum around some of the safety projects that we want to address. And safety is very broad. The intercoms, I know for the folks who have been on the board for years, intercoms and the phone systems in the school are a perennial discussion. So we may be, catching lightning in a bottle with this, so that will be great. There we go.
Important dates and meetings. Well, important, really important date for Saturday, graduation. Tuesday, June 21st, school committee meeting, Tuesday, July 12th, school committee meeting, and Tuesday, August 9th, school committee meeting. Tuesday, August 23rd, if needed, school committee. So, there is no executive session, but there will be next time.
Yes.
Second.